Toastmasters, dear guests, welcome to a new Toastmasters meeting. Every week we are here to create a positive and supportive environment in which every member who has the opportunity to develop their oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. This is our mission, the mission of a Toastmasters Club. As always, we had a few guests, persons who are here for the first time, and I would like to say hello to Miron Vasile Ionuț. Hello, welcome to our meeting. And if there is anyone here for the first time, please let me know. Not you. He's our treasurer. Welcome and have a great evening here with us. At the end of the meeting, I will ask you how it looks to you, how do you feel with us, and if you will come again. You already know that. That's great. Good. So we are ready to step forward to our meeting, and for this thing I will ask to come here in front of us the host of this evening, and this is Dacian Cimpean.
Thank you, Raduca. Welcome everyone to a new Toastmasters meeting. My role today is the Toastmasters, obviously, and I had to choose a theme for this meeting, obviously. And I chose Russia. And instead of just presenting why I chose this theme, I want to ask you first, what is the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about Russia? If some of you could just offer some. Big Brother. Putin.
Autostopmagellan.ro.
Why not? Crimea, the situation in Crimea. Okay. Anyone else?
Red Army.
Putin and the Red Army. Okay. Can you repeat, please?
Dogs.
Dogs?
Dog.
Dogs.
Entertainment. Throughout this meeting, I will try to explain why I chose this subject and what is the first thing that comes to my mind when thinking about Russia. But let me first explain how a Toastmasters meeting works. First, we have the prepared speeches section, where 3 of our colleagues come and present a speech based on a project from a project. Based on a project from our communication manuals. Following is the impromptu speeches, where everyone, whether you are a member of Toastmasters or not, can come in front and deliver a speech on a subject that you first see, then have 20 seconds to think about, and finally it's the evaluation section, where a few members of our club basically offer feedback on how the meeting went. But to explain more how the evaluation section works, I'm going to invite Radu, who today is our general evaluator. I've asked Radu what's the first thing that he thinks about regarding Russia, and he said that the fact that the Westerners call it the big bear to imply that Russia is big, brutal and clumsy. Please offer applause to Radu, or general evaluator.
Thank you, Dacian. It is the Westerners' opinion. I do not think that Russia is big, or dumb, or clumsy, or brutal. Just being politically correct here. So, my name is Radu. I will be leading the evaluations team. As Raluca said at the beginning of this meeting, we are here to grow, to learn, and to develop our skills. And in order to do that, we don't have a Tsar or a dictator telling us what to do or how to do it. Instead, we have manuals. We have manuals, and each manual has lessons and projects. And for each lesson or project that you can find in a manual, you have certain objectives, goals that you need to reach in order to develop and grow and learn. Okay, long story short. In order to reach those goals, you have the support and help of the evaluation team. So, we have three types of evaluators. First of all, there are speech evaluators. For each person that comes here with a speech prepared at home, there is one person completely focused on how they do and how they strive to reach their goals. Then there's another section of technical evaluators, another part of the evaluation team, which are the technical evaluators. And specifically, we have three evaluators, which I will ask to come in front of you right now, and each of them will describe their role. The first evaluator is Simona L. She will be the accounter, and when I asked her what she knows about Russia, she said that the most important thing she knows about it is that it has a massive natural gas reserve. So, welcome, Simona.
Hello everyone, I'm Simona, and tonight for the very first time at Toastmasters I will be the accounter. My role tonight will be to count all the inappropriate words and sounds, words like but, so, well. I will also take into consideration the inappropriate pauses that will be made, or hopefully not, by the speakers tonight. And at the end of the meeting I will present the complete report. I hope I won't have to count too much tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Simona. Our next technical evaluator is the Grammarian. Now, I will let her explain what the Grammarian does. I welcome in front Anca Milchis, and she believes about Russia that, well, actually she knows about it, shamanism, Tsarism, communism, and communism again. So, welcome Anca, let's hear what you have to say.
Good evening. I was so afraid of this role that I never took it before, so I decided to take it for the first time in English. Now, what I will do this night as a grammarian. I will look upon your grammar, upon your incomplete sentences and your incorrect grammar, but also I will look for creative language and creative expressions. Also, there is a word of the day, for today, red. I encourage you to use it every time you can in your speech. Red is an adjective, and it means something that is red in the same color as blood, or to become red in the face because you're embarrassed, and as informal use, showing disapproval, an insulting word meaning socialist or communist. There are many uses of red, I don't know, to turn red because you are embarrassed or because you are annoyed or I don't know, many others, and I encourage you to find them. As I said, I chose to be a grammarian for the first time in English at the English meeting, and worst of all, when we have a guest who speaks English as his fluent language. I wish you all good luck.
Thank you for your specific description of the grammarian role. We have another technical evaluator, and this technical evaluator believes that the most important thing about Russia is that the actual situation caused by them has a big influence right here in Romania. Apparently, the Romanian stock market has decreased by 10% this year after having grown by 25% last year. Well, I'm curious how he will describe his role, and I invite right here in front Sergiu and Andreica to be the timer.
Tonight I will be the timer, so I have to count the time. The time can be a problem if you will speak too much, because you will see the red card. Grammarian, red. But it can be a most bigger problem if you don't come here and speak, because you're in a public speaking club. We have the time for the prepared speeches. When you have 2 minutes left, you will see the green card. When you have 1 minute left, you will see the yellow card. And when the time is over, you will see the red card. For the impromptu speeches, you have 2 minutes for it. When you have 1 minute left, you will see the...
Can I interrupt at this point? As I'm the TableTopics giver, give more people a chance in English at a short speech, I've decided to make that 1 minute 30 seconds maximum. So a green light should be given at exactly 45 seconds, one at 1 minute and one at 1 minute 15.
1 second.
Green at 45 seconds, yellow or orange or amber at exactly 1 minute, and at 1 minute 15 seconds the red sign comes on and stays on. How about high after that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the evaluator, for the speeches evaluator, when you have 3 minutes for deliver your evaluation, and you have 2 minutes left, you will see the green card. When you have 30 seconds, when you have 1 minute, you will see the green. When you have 30 seconds, you will see the yellow. And when it's over, you will see the red. For the other roles like general evaluator and grammarian, you will have you will have 5 minutes. When you have 2 minutes left, you will see the green. 1 minute the yellow, and when the time is over, the red again. For the hour counter and the time counter, me, you have 2 minutes. After 1 minute, you will see the green. After 1 minute and 30, the yellow, and when the time is over, again the red. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sergiu. I believe you might just win the Grammarian special prize tonight for using the word.
I want more from
so.
you.
More red.
Not that red.
Dear guests, as I said at the beginning, we have 3 different types of evaluators. I told you about the ones that will evaluate the people in front. You've seen the technical evaluators, and the third type of evaluators are those that you will not see in front here. They're sitting in the chairs among you, and they will keep their eyes on us and make sure that we are doing a good job, all of us that will be in front there. So, without further ado, maybe, I would like to tell you that I'm very curious to hear the prepared speeches and the table topics section. And in order to move forward, I would like to invite Dacian back to the stage.
Thank you, Radu. I'd like to start by saying that I am a member of Toastmasters for about a year now. And during my last two speeches, I kind of lost it. Thank you. At both speeches, I was basically a moment away from crying, and I promised myself then that I will never touch a subject that is difficult for me. But I can guarantee you today that I will not keep that promise, not even today. So that promise lasted until my first chance to talk again. So while I believe people are interested in Russia because of the situation in Crimea, and because a couple of months in January they were interested in Russia because of the Winter Olympics, I find a totally different subject that I am going to tackle today, that from my point of view is both ignored and extremely important, but without wanting to occupy a lot of space, I will present the subject obviously during the meeting, but I want us to start with our prepared speeches section now, and I want to invite the first member, the first prepared speeches, the first speaker, I'm sorry. Her name is Diana Moraru. She's at project number 2 from the Professional Speaker Manual. The project is called The Entertaining Speech. Her speech is 12 minutes long and it's called When Life Plays. Before inviting her in front of us, obviously I've asked her too about tonight's topic, and she said that the first thing that comes through her mind is Gorky, the writer who taught her to see Russia outside of the general stereotype. Please encourage Diana Moraru.
Thank you. Have you heard of the movie Lost in Translation?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty much self-explanatory, just the title if you haven't heard of it. Well, if you go to China, you'll get lost in everything. That was some years ago, for the first time, when I was traveling. And it was actually the first time when I was flying. In total 14 hours flight. So I was in my plane, my seat, and I was thinking, 14 hours, that's gonna be something. And it was a very nice lady right beside me, and she asked me, nervous? I said, first time. No, I've been nervous before. I know how to do this. The flight was actually pretty smooth. And I was thinking, even if I hadn't this experience, I can look around and learn from it. So no matter what I do, I have to be cautious. The first moment when I thought it's good to be cautious was during the flight at some point when the flight attendant brought us some headset with a card. And the card said, thank you for the 15 euros you'll give that will help the children in Africa for building some school. And I was thinking, that's very nice, but I don't have that cash with me. What should I do? What should I do? I was looking around and people were actually checking for money. And I thought, man, I'm in an airplane with a lot of rich people. This is a good bunch. Do I have to actually use the headset? I can skip that. Even if it would be useful and also it would be a nice gesture to give the money. But I decided maybe it's the right time to be creative and not take the headset and be creative. Instead of listening to music, maybe for the first time, I can imagine some voices and listen to them. So I decided not to open the headset. Everyone around me was making themselves comfortable, opening the headset. I think all I could think of was this. And I was thinking, no, I don't have now the cash with me, I can't do that. And after a while, the flight attendant came and actually took the card and left the headset. And then I realized the headset was actually for free. It was just the card for the people that wanted to donate anyway. So eventually
eventually I didn't have to invade to the voices. I used the headset. The flight was nice, was easy and smooth. That was just the beginning of my journey. And then, after landing, in the first days, I had to get familiar with the places. I was alone. So, of course, I got hungry at some point. When this happened, I decided to just walk into what seemed a normal, decent restaurant and sit on a table. At the table, I got a menu with pictures, which was very, very helpful when you are in China. I didn't feel like trying new food yet. So I asked the waitress what she should recommend. And the answer was yes. I wasn't very pleased with the answer, so I decided just to make my own choice, based on the pictures. So I chose one picture that looked pretty safe and colorful to me. And then I just sat there and waited. At one point, after she brought me the fork and also the chopsticks, she brought the big pink jelly stuff. Now, it didn't actually look like the food I ordered. So I thought maybe it's something on the house, because sometimes they have this habit. Now, I was sitting at the table and not sure if I should use the fork or if I should use the chopsticks. It was a pretty difficult choice because it was kind of a marshmallow. So I was thinking, if I use the fork, then everything will pour and I will embarrass myself. But if I use the chopsticks, I can prove I already know their culture and I'm getting used to it. And I was sitting there just between the fork and the chopsticks, not sure how should I try. Eventually I reached for the fork. So I took the fork and I was ready to see how soft or how hard it is to take the first bite of the pink jelly stuff. When I was about to do that, the waitress came again. And out of nowhere, she just pulled a box of matches and lit my dinner on fire. I was simply astonished. I didn't find my English words to ask her what's going on. So I was thinking, should I let it burn or what's the deal with this stuff? I thought it's a safe food. Just a moment later, she arrives with a plateau that she actually put on the pink stuff that was in flames. So that was kind of a call, and my actual dinner was in the plate. Now, I don't know if I took any bite out of the pink jelly stuff, what would be their reaction then? So I was, as you might say, saved by the bell. So sometimes when life plays, you can let it play. You get saved by the bell. And then, I also wanted to try the local Chinese specific. So I went to a bar. It was a red bar, not that kind of bar, that kind of red. And I was just looking around. It was a very nice Chinese girl just sitting there at the bar with a big chain and a sign written, and I'm quoting now, "Rich bitch." I was looking at her. I was looking around at the bar. It seemed a nice, decent, normal bar. I was looking at her clothes, and I was thinking, couldn't they make a sign with moderately wealthy beach? I mean, the keyword would still be there. I don't know exactly how was the impact in their culture, but for me, it was a sign that people, I guess, they are rich in China. So it was a nice experience, all in all. And then I got invited at a wedding where when you walked in, you have to give the present for the happy couple. So what you do is handle an envelope with money. How they thank you back is giving you another envelope with less money. And I was very puzzled. Why would they do that? So I asked someone at the reception, how is this going? Is it traditional? Yes, very traditional, yes. But why do you do that? Oh, it's spiritual. It's for good luck. Okay, that was a new approach for spirituality that I learned in China. And it was a very good experience. After trying the food, at the wedding, it was a time to taste the drinks. Now, what I discovered at weddings, it's in China, it's polite to go and drink with all the other guests. So they bring a lot of wine, beer, actually the classic drinks at one table. And when people want to get friendly, they come, they say cheers, and then they drink. I also learned a new way of drinking shots. So it was white wine shot. I had no idea what that was, so I thought there are some specific, glasses or a ritual. What they actually do is have the normal glass of wine, they pour wine, and then they drink it without breathing in one shot. And this is why they call it white wine shot. And at one point, I was just looking around when everybody was drinking shots and nobody was breathing at all, that I actually started to breathe faster, so at least someone breathed in that room. It was just one shot after another. And that was also a very interesting experience for me. Now, at the Chinese wedding, I also learned that it's rude to refuse to drink shots. It's a sign of disrespect. Needless to say that I was very polite at that wedding. So it was useful because in Romania I never had that chance to be so polite. Nevertheless, what I want to tell you in the end is, when life plays, you let it play. And it's gonna be fun years later when you remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I want to keep this as short as possible because we are already running late, but let me explain why I chose this subject. And the main reason, actually the single reason, is because of a law that was passed in Russia in June of last year, and it's called, or basically it's known as the LGBT propaganda law. It was approved in, as I already said, in June 2013, and it is a child protection law that states that distributing propaganda in support of non-traditional sexual relationships among minors is a criminal offense. Just think about that. Not being able to express opinions regarding sexual diversity in such a large country. It was an effective ban on promoting the rights and the culture of LGBT people. For example, a 24-year-old activist was already arrested in Russia for holding a sign that said, just for holding a sign that said, being gay and loving gays is normal, beating gays and killing gays is a crime. So he wasn't actually gay, he was just protesting the law and protesting the intolerant system in Russia. And he and his parents were all arrested for this action. This means that you don't have to be gay, obviously, in Russia, but just being tolerant and publicly expressing your opinion regarding this issue might threaten your life or might take away some of your liberties. And further in our meeting, I will try to explain what are the implications, shortly obviously, what are the implications of this kind of a law in Russia. But moving forward, I want to invite the second speaker of this evening. Her name is Adela Muresan. She's at project number 5 from the Competent Communication Manual. The project is called Your Body Speaks. She's going to speak with her body for 7 minutes. The objectives of the speech are, if you're a little bit patient with me, so, to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expression, and eye contact to express her message and achieve the speech purposes, to make the body language smooth and natural. Adela thinks about the crisis in Crimea and Putin's inexpressive face in this specific order. Please give a round of applause for Adela Muresan. And the title is Confidence, I Has It.
Thank you. Note to the grammarian that mistaking the title was on purpose. Thank you. So confidence, huh? I should have had that white wine shot before this. Definitely. Confidence, self-confidence is the key to your success. Every book says that. Everyone knows it. You know it, I know it. You don't believe me? Really? I bet each and every one of you had at least one moment in their lives when somebody enough self-confident convinced you to buy that product that you didn't really need, or enroll that class that you didn't really think it was that useful, but you actually did, or go out on that date that turned out to be not so good in the end. Self-confidence is the key to your success. Enough self-confidence can shape your reality. You don't believe me? Let's look at some evidence. Let's look at our Prime Minister, Victor Ponta, who a couple of years ago self-confidently denied plagiarism accusations and got away with it, against the fact that everyone saw the documents and everyone could see the reality. But no, he said, no, I did not do that, self-confidently, and everyone believed him. Same character, who has an important position in our country, a couple of days ago, I think, did the same thing, but in a different situation. Everyone saw him on tape, talking disrespectfully to another minister. In a cultural translation, his actual words would have sounded like, "Yo, Doina, what's up? Are you in for some floods?" And everyone saw him uttering those words. The next day, he appeared on national television and said, "I did not say those words." And people believed him. So, self-confidence, huh? It really gets you somewhere. The thing is, I envy these people. I truly do. Because I have a natural born instinct to doubt myself and to doubt everything that happens to me and overanalyze these things. So I always thought these people were born with a user's manual that I hadn't got a copy of. So I decided to set out on a journey to find this holy grail. And what do you think I did? What would an analytical person do, of course? Read all the books about this. Read all the material. Fortunately enough, Google is full of valuable advice about this. So what you have to do is do a Google search about self-confidence, tips on it, and then just follow the rules. So I did. Rule number 1, dress appropriately in a way that flatters your looks and seem confident. Checked. Of course, this happened a couple of years ago. It doesn't apply to what I'm wearing right now, but I tried this. Rule number 2, posture, stance, eye contact, the salesman look, smile, meet people, socialize outside of Facebook, change your profile picture, share your holiday destinations. Maybe, just maybe, try to have a speech at Toastmasters. Checked. And again, posture, stance, eye contact, the salesman look, the smile. Don't shake, don't tremble, don't let your voice be nervous. Don't show weakness. And then again, posture, stance, gestures, eye contact, and smile. And it felt tiring. It really did. Because it really feels like a workout, doesn't it? It's like Pilates and yoga and a bit of jiu-jitsu combined all together, when you still cannot feel the results of your own workout, besides all the muscle pain. And why does this feel tiring if you're not naturally born with this skill? I figured it out. It's because if you look at it this way, you're trying to develop something that you think you don't have. So you're constantly making efforts to grow something that you think you don't have, and you feel frustrated about it. And then this is going around in circles. It doesn't really help that much. But we are all naturally confident. Just think about your toddler yelling to your parents about the fact that you're hungry. Nobody was doubting that. Think about all the things that you lied about as a child, self-confidently, never doubting yourself. So that means we all have self-confidence. The problem is, we probably self-sabotage ourselves as we grow up with recordings of things that we don't like about ourselves, just put on repeat, and repeating those to ourselves. And then we start shaking and trembling and feeling not so confident. So, don't build self-confidence. Just think that you have it. Try to identify what makes you doubt it, and try to fight those instincts, those gestures. If you think about it this way, you don't have to build something, you already have it. You just have to take care of it in a proper way. After all, we're all clumsy, and self-doubt comes in waves. And we sometimes say, I has it, instead of I have it. But we have to take this clumsiness lightheartedly, and be able to laugh about it, and not hold a grudge on these mistakes. After all, we'll be able to say, I have, instead of I has, one day, probably. After all, I think self-confidence is, as the wise comedian Tim Minchin would say, it's just like happiness. If you think about it too much, it goes away. Thank you.
Thank you, Adela, and congratulations. Because Adela was the last one to speak here, I remember that my brother once told her that even if you don't necessarily know what I was going to talk about in my speeches at Toastmasters, you would probably guess two things about my speeches. One, that they were not that, hopefully, that they were going to refer to America, or that they were going to be about civil liberties. And they were both probably right, and I want to make a connection between Russia and America now, because
That's also Russia.
bombing us? There's no propaganda law here. Okay. One of the subjects that I mostly wanted to talk about in a speech but never had the chance to was about Matthew Shepard. He was an American student from Wyoming who was killed in 1998 by two people who offered him a ride, drove him to a remote location and proceeded to rob, pistol whip. That means that they were beating him with the pistol and torture him and left him there to die, tied him to a fence and left him there to die until he was found a couple of days later, all covered in blood. They both, the killers, both admitted to targeting Matthew because he was gay. And his killing brought upon a general discussion in America about hate crime and about how we should and about why we should pursue hate crimes differently than normal crimes, because they are targeting a specific minority that is normally discriminated against. And probably the most important connection here is that if you have a propaganda law that is in state in Russia, that means that you can never have this discussion. And after hearing the following speech, I'm going to present a similar case that happened in Russia, but a case that was basically ignored in Russia. People in the international community talked about it, but basically that was it. Moving on, I want to invite the last speaker from the prepared speeches section. His name is Dacian, sorry, Radu. He's at project number 1 from the storytelling manual. The project is called The Fourth Tale. Objectives for this speech are to tell a folk tale that is entertaining and enjoyable for a specific age group, and to use vivid imagery and voice to enhance the tale. The title of the speech is Jack and the Beanstalk, and it's 9 minutes long. Adi?
Jack and the Beanstalk. Politically correct version. Once upon a time, there lived a boy named Jack. He lived on a small farm together with his mother. And they were very, very, very economically challenged. This present situation kept them in dire straits. And at some point, Jack's mother decided to send him into the nearest town to sell the family cow. Never mind the millions of liters of milk they had stolen from this cow. Never mind the hours of pleasant companionship this bovine animal had provided to the family. Never mind the fact that they had taken all its manure to use in their garden. The cow was just a piece of property to them now, to be sold. Jack, who didn't know the fact that animals had just as many rights as humans, accepted his mother's proposition and went to the nearest town. On his way, he met an old magic vegetarian who warned him about the dangers of eating beef and dairy products. But I'm not going to eat this cow, said Jack. I'm nearly taking her to the nearest town in order to sell her. Ah, said the old magic vegetarian, but you are still perpetuating the cultural myth of eating beef, and you are disregarding the fact that the cattle industry is having such a disastrous effect on our poor environment. You see, anyway, you are too simple to get this. You can't really understand the implications. I'll just propose you an exchange. For your cow, I'm going to offer you these 3 magic beans, who, by the way, have just as much protein as that entire cow, but none of the fat and sodium. Jack was very, very happy to receive this offer. He took the 3 magic beans and happily returned to his small farm. When his mother heard about his doings, she was very, very disappointed. She actually grew extremely upset. Up until this point, she had thought that her son was merely a conceptual thinker rather than a linear thinker. But now she was convinced that he was damn right differently abled. She was so upset that later on in that evening, she attended her first group meeting with the group, the support group, called Mothers of Storybook Children. Now, this helped a lot. But the second day, Jack woke up and quickly stuck his head out the window to see if the sun had risen from the east again. He was beginning to notice a pattern in this. And out the window in the yard, he saw a huge, huge beanstalk that had grown over the night. It was reaching up into the sky over the clouds. Given the fact that he didn't have any cows to milk that morning, he had just sold his cow, he climbed up into the sky and reached above the clouds in a magical land. There was a huge, huge castle there, and it was not only big, but it was built to a larger than average scale, as if it was the home for somebody who just happened to be a giant. Regardless, he entered this castle, and in the hallway he heard a beautiful music floating through the air. Now, he followed that music, and he got to a room, a secret room, where there was a golden harp who was playing all by itself, without even being touched. Now, next to this self-actualized harp, there was a hen sitting on the top of a huge pile of golden eggs. Now, these 2 treasures really appealed to Jack's bourgeois sensibilities, and he grabbed both the harp and the hen and started running for the front door. At this point, he heard a booming voice and some thundering footsteps. The voice said, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an English person. I would like to hear his thoughts on his culture and views on life, and I would also like to share my opinions on the subject in a sharing and caring way." Jack was too crazed with greed to really take the giant's offer into consideration, so he started coming up with excuses for himself. He thought, well, this is not right. This is just an excuse. I mean, what's a giant doing with these fine and beautiful things? He must have stolen them from somewhere else. I have every right to take them. Now, his frantic justifications, which were quite remarkable for his overtaxed mental resources, revealed a clear thing about Jack. He was a complete sizist. He thought that all giants were clumsy, knowledge impaired, and easy to take advantage of. Now, he knew for sure that he couldn't outrun this giant, so he had to think of something else. He said, when the giant saw that he was stealing his possessions, he said, "Jack, why are you taking what's mine?" And Jack said, "Well, I am not merely taking them, I am placing them in my stewardship for proper administration. You giants are too simple-headed to really administer all your resources properly. I'm just helping you. You will thank me for this later." The giant sighed heavily. He said, "Yes, you might be right. We giants have a problem with managing our own resources. Just before, we saw a beanstalk and we were so excited about it that we started picking at it so vigorously that we pulled it right out of the ground." Jack was scared. His heart sank. He turned to the front door and he saw that the giant, in fact, had destroyed his beanstalk. At this point, he was destroyed. He thought, "What I'm going to do?" he cried. I'm going to stay here in the sky with you forever." The giant calmed him down. He said, "Don't worry, my little friend. We are all strict vegetarians up here, and there are always plenty of beans to eat. In fact, 13 other people of your size have climbed up other beanstalks to visit us, and they all stayed." Jack thought about it, and he remained in the giant's up in the sky cloud community. He didn't really miss his mother or his small farm, because up in the sky there was much less work to do and much more food to eat. After a while, he even started to think about his prejudices, and he started to accept people around him. He started to become less of a sizist. He started not discriminating people of a different size than he was. Well, at least those who were taller than him, not those who were smaller than him. Thank you.
Thank you, Adi. And I want to congratulate all the three speakers from the prepared speeches section. Good job. Moving on, I promised that I was going to talk about a similar case that happened in Russia. His name was Vladimir Tornovoy. He lived in a city called Volgograd. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And he was killed last year by 3 attackers that I'm going to describe what they did to his body. These are graphic details. Yes, actually I have to. His skull was crushed with a piece of broken pavement. His genitals were mutilated, his ribs broken, and he was sodomized with beer bottles with so much force that they damaged his interior organs. Finally, the attackers set fire to his body. And when asked why they did this, they said they did it. You can stop that, please. They said that they did this because he was gay. And his parents and his friends denied this claim. So this basically offers us only 2 explanations. Either he was gay, but he was so closeted that not even his friends, his closest friends and his parents knew about his identity. and the killers thought that they were doing a just thing by getting rid of an homosexual because the LGBT community was described in Russia as being a menace for the society, or either he wasn't gay. But the killers thought that they could receive an easier sentence by claiming that they have killed an homosexual, even if he really wasn't. And basically, that is, in my viewpoint, one of the most important things about Russia. The fact that such an important minority is being not just discriminated against, but it's being under constant attacks, both rhetorically and physically, in a country where they can't even promote their own rights. Yes. I wanna move forward to the table topics section, and for that I want to invite the TableTopics master to conduct this section. Please give a round and a warm welcome to our Balin.
Toastmasters and honoured guests. As you know, I'm Balin from the Gold Coast, which is near Brisbane, the Twin Towns Club of Toastmasters. I've been there for 14 years and in Sydney before that for quite some time. I'm very flattered by the introductions I've had, but unfortunately I was described as being a fluent English speaker. That just goes over the top. I'm actually a native English speaker. I wish I were a fluent one. Now, before I go into the table topics, which is a mini speech, as you probably all know, I'll define the goals and how we're going to get there. I'll also give you some feedback as a native English speaker. Overall, you guys make the same mistakes as we do in Australia. And you speak bloody too fast. Pause. Pauses are part of speech. Just like a blank on a computer screen is actually a character, it's not just nothing. Think about it. 2, the expressions in your non-native English language overall are extremely good. Pronunciation is very, very acceptable. Romanian for me is actually my 4th best language, so I'm struggling in Romanian, so I appreciate what everyone in this room, Toastmasters and the odd or even guest, has to go through. To save time, I will leave any other comments if you want to ask them later or socially after the meeting. Table topics, yes, that's exciting because we all shiver. Chill goes up and down our spine, hits the brain, back to the feet. We think, am I going to be picked next? And if so, what I'll do when I get a question? Hey, you're a Toastmaster, for heaven's sake. Relax, because you've got 25 seconds in coming up here. You're never given the topic till you get here, that's official, but you've still got time to think about it. And if you're a newer member or a guest, you're given an easy subject, like, what do you like to do best? Or describe your job, or your holidays. What could be simpler? Take your time, compose. It's a mini speech, opening, body and conclusion. Be effective, use gestures if you can. And one thing about gestures is, you as a club do not have a lectern, so I can't put this anywhere convenient. Or you have one or it's not here. Because I'm handicapped with gestures. Even if it's only a little thing like a biro, a Dixon. I'm handicapped. So get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's gone. So today I've got some things I want you to talk about in table topics. You've got 1 minute and 30 seconds, 6 speakers, volunteers hopefully, or 2 more optionally. There'll be 2 easy questions, so they're at the end. There's going to be a for and against type of situation. You speak why you believe something is good, someone says what the negatives about it, the second speaker. So alternate speakers are going to be for and against. when you hear, do the usual speech, and you have the time I've allocated to the timer. The green show at 45 seconds. Yellow, we call it orange, or sometimes amber, is at 1 minute. And at 1 minute 15, we have exactly the red that stays on is shown the whole time. So you get off the stage. The Toastmasters run on time. We'll try it. Like you, our club runs late in opening. It's very hard. So we have to make up some time. Now, in general, I've noticed a couple of things which are not so good in the English language. One is, and I think the gentleman at the back, who I sort of hardly know, he comes here very rarely, but I think his name from memory is Sorin Sakara. I could be wrong. He says things, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go over there, do this. But you've done it all here. Two of you have said, I'm going to. But somebody else said, I wanna, I'm gonna. I forget that, that's bad English, it really is. I'm going to go to Sydney, I'm going to go to England, I'm going to go to work. It's always never abbreviated. It's a crime almost in the English language. Point number 2 is a couple of other things like long to shorter. Well, that doesn't make any sense in the English language. It's cutting it short. Simple as that. They're colloquialisms that you have to get used to. Let me give you an example. I wonder how good you guys are. For example, why, questions, is rhetorical, is humorous. Why did the good creator, who might be the God figure or the supreme being, the Gaia, as we call it in our indigenous land, why did he give us humans 2 legs, 2 feet, instead of 1? Any? Why?
For balance?
Very good. That's anatomically correct. But the real reason... Symmetry? Yes, but the real reason, and it's relevant to Toastmasters, is so that if we as humans put our foot in our own mouth, we don't immediately fall over. So something to learn about that. And this is where Toastmasters is good, because it stops you from putting your own foot in your own mouth. Your mistakes, but in a safe, positive environment. So I recommend Toastmasters for anybody who wants to advance but is too scared to do so anywhere else. Very important. Now getting on to table topics, I will ask the volunteers, I will need a pen. And I have some things to talk about in here. Table topics, for those that haven't been the table topics master, as we call the person, or table topics giver, is nominate someone. I guess tonight just give them the question first and let them come up and think about it. I don't exist after they look at me saying topics master. They talk to the audience, well, I'm going to sit right away here. I'm not part of this feedback. It's given to the audience like any proper speech. And I'll sit down till the timing is over, make some notes, and then call the next speaker. Having covered that, I will need 4 experienced Toastmasters. Any volunteers for the first 6? What's your name?
Alex.
You just been given a question. Anybody else? Anna?
Adela.
Sorry?
Adela.
Adela.
Adela, just like Adele.
Adela. Yes, that makes English sense, thank you. A third speaker, what's your name? Miron. Or Myron.
Yeah.
Myron, okay, we'll call you Myron. I'm Paul, by the way, not Paul. Just for tonight. 4th one, anybody? Well, we'll stick to 4, that's fine. What's your name?
OV.
C-O-V?
It's like OB1, it's OV1.
OV?
OV with V.
Or V, as in Ovidiu?
Yeah.
Okay, it's easy. Why the hell didn't you say so? You have to state the obvious. Okay, I need a 5th one if you would like. Anybody?
It's now because it's a little bit later.
Okay, I'll do it later. Stop at that. Right, we have a volunteer, and it will be a dig into the bag situation. Reshuffle my notes. This is not supposed to go on a Toastmasters meeting, you have to be better prepared, but in the car coming here, I just made very rough notes and they go out of order. Okay, Alex, please come. Would you welcome Alex? And yes, it's blue for a boy. What do you like about candy and sweets in general? What are the positives about sweets and candy in general?
Can you repeat the question?
What do you like about candy or lollies, sweets in general? Why is it good for you or good for somebody? And please put it aside after you've looked at it.
I like this because the best object I ever seen in my life. Look at this form, look at this heart. It's like my heart from inside. It's so perfect, it's so beautiful. That's what I like. It's so gorgeous. That form, that color, like cocaine. Same. But I can't. No, I can smell it, I can taste it. It's so good. It's so much pleasure in this object. That's what I like so much. When I was child, I was eating a lot of that. You know why? Because I like it very much. I like it a lot. And I want you to invite to try this beautiful object to eating. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And yes, you can keep it.
Okay, thank you.
They were on special at Coles in Sydney, Australia when I left the country. No, just a joke. Number 2, we have Adela. Would you come up here? And yes, you're very lucky you'll have the same object to talk about, but really it is the negative. Adela. Would you tell all of us, please, what you don't like about candy and sweets and why they are dangerous?
Okay. Beware of heart-shaped candies. One of them ruined my life. When I was 8 years old, I got one of these as a present. And it was heart-shaped, and it was pink. Oh, this one's red, but that was pink.
You get you a pink one.
Yes, besides all the negative effects, it causes colored blindness. So here's the proof. And it was so pretty and so nice in this nice shiny package. And I fell in love with it. I thought, this is the best thing in the world, the heart-shaped candy. And I started eating it every day, after every meal, before going to bed, first thing in the morning. In school, when teachers couldn't see me. And it was promising. It promises very nice things. The sweet taste, the promise of happiness. But all you get is fat. You get fat and you don't become a model. And the problem with this is that all these years, I did not develop any other skill that would make me eligible for any other job. So this is how candy ruined my life. Beware of heart-shaped candies. Thank you.
Well, you can keep it, but be careful, it makes you fat and makes you lose your teeth, but enjoy it in the meantime. Yeah, I think it was Myron that was, or Myron, who's the next person. You have a difficult one. You're going to get a very difficult one, and yes, you have to talk about, just take this off because I'm very uncomfortable, very tight on me. It's a form of never will be destroyed plastic. I think you know it very well. No, you can't keep this one. Modern manufacturing, mainly plasticizing, plastic production of anything, mass production of cheap products like this from a couple of 2 or 3 countries, not being discriminatory against Russia or China or Taiwan or anyone. What's so good about these quick instant products that we get flooding our world markets in 1.5 minutes, please?
Okay. And it seems I have to talk about small stuffs manufactured. I believe that this kind of objects can make our life easier. Just a quick look at the watch and we can manage our time better. That's all.
Who else volunteered?
Video.
Now, video I know very well, but not that well. I've been getting about 500 emails a month from you. In fact, you naughty man. I'm busy enough at work. But you are forgiven because it's part of communication, and I love it. Now, what about you? Would you tell us in up to 1.5 minutes why the very same stupid goods mass manufactured like this one, in pink, somebody's very keen on pink, but it's colourblind, so I can give them green or any other colour. Why this is so bad for the world's people and the economy. And again, you can't keep it, but please talk about it.
Okay. So, plastic objects. Damn! Just think of the days where you could keep in your hand, holding your hand, a solid glass bottle, and you could break someone's head with it, or break some windows with it. Now, during these days, you can't do anything with this junk. It's all plastic, it's all rubbery, they all jump all over the place. One big problem I had with plastic toys was with plastic dildos. You really can't do anything with a plastic dildo. Not to forget that plastic is not biodegradable. So basically, after you use it, you can't just throw it in the forest and all the hard wood will swallow it like a paper bag. Plastic. Just let's think about plastic cars and all the Toyota hybrid are making these days. And let's think about all good, solid Mercedes that could smash anything. A human, a truck, even your mother's house. You can't do that stuff with today's plastic Toyota, with all the plastic stuff on the board. So basically, I would suggest you to buy a nice golden watch, a Rolex, that you can spot your eyes off in face of your friends, and give up the plastic watch. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess you have to give it back, but yes, you can have one of these. And if you don't stop sending me thousands of emails, I'll mail you 500 of these so you can rot your teeth.
Thank you.
And please keep sending the emails, they're wonderful. Well, that's it. I can evaluate straight away if we have time now to save, economise on time.
No.
And I have to evaluate this. Everything in Toastmasters is evaluated. In all European clubs, almost never evaluate the mini speeches called TableTopics. I'm going to evaluate them. So start the stopwatch. Oh, start the stopwatch. It's interesting saying in English. I never thought about it. because I am a native speaker. Okay, my notes on it are, sorry, I've got to reshuffle again. I'm missing two. They're so good, I don't want to miss them from somewhere else. Okay. First we had Alex. Alex was, again, 20 seconds evaluation, that's all it needs. The pluses and the minuses. Things that were good. Didn't get rid of my pen, did I? You're very positive, eye contact was excellent, very enthusiastic, and you made so wonderful, a love affair. Now you knitted a story, almost like a fairy tale. Well done. And nothing negative, not negative, but things to improve on for next time is you don't have so perfect in English or any other language. It's either perfect or it's not. Thank you. Adela, you were wonderful. You thought it out, actually had it structured like a proper speech. How did you do that? I need the secret, because I can't do it. Well structured, dramatic, interactive, humorous. So what more could we want? And also the addiction side of it, that catches all of us. Moraru, excellent opening, good data in the middle, but you finished a bit weak. So next time, stay on your feet, be confident, let your shoulders go down, you can't breathe. And just think about it. No one's penalised for thinking of getting help. Somebody will eventually suggest something. If I'm stuck now, somebody will help me eventually. You're already in Toastmasters. It's safe. It really is absolutely safe. And a video? I'm not sure about you. No points for improvement. What are you doing? You're too good. Now stop it. You're showing us all up. Excellent. No problems at all. Thank you very much. I'll announce the winner. Do we announce the winner now? Or?
Not yet.
Well.
Thank you, Paul. Everyone has a ticket where you can vote for your I'm sorry. From the beginning, you all have a ticket where you can vote the impromptu speech that you like best. So please do that and pass the notes to Paul here in front, or to Raluca, our president, and later on we will announce the winner of this section. Before finishing my role, I want to underline that I know that it isn't easy talking about this subject, and I can only assume that it isn't easy for you as an audience to hear me talk about this, especially with the graphic details and all of that. But we should not take for granted the fact that we here in Romania are able to talk about basically anything. And just by using this right, we show our value for it. And I want to finish by quoting Martin Luther King. He said that in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And I could say that we are, in a sense, friends of the oppressed community in Russia. Now I want to invite back in front of us Radu Ilies to conduct the evaluation section. Radu?
Thank you, Dacian. So we had our fun with the prepared speeches and with the impromptu speeches. It's time to hear the evaluations. Now for the first prepared speech, I would like to invite in front of you Anna, and she shared her view on Russia and what she knows about Russia. The most important thing she knows about it is that a man lived there once. His name was Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky, and he wrote the book Memoirs from the House of the Dead. Now let's hear what Anna has to say. Give her a warm welcome, please.
Hello everyone, and congratulations Diana for your speech this evening. So to remind you the objectives of the speech, Diana had to prepare an entertaining moment, an entertaining speech where she was supposed to not focus on the message mainly, but on the entertaining objective of the interaction, and she could have used several types of manners of creating humor, like exaggeration, jokes, anecdotes, etc. And of course, needless to say, she had to include, to have a structure for the speech which should have a proper introduction, body, and conclusion, and they have to be effective. What I mostly enjoyed about the way you opened the speech was that you started it with a question and you placed the interaction first of all. I would have enjoyed you to emphasize some more on that, the title of the movie, Lost in Translation, or I don't know, giving some examples, something like this, but still I think it was an effective opening. Then, related to the outline of the speech, as I noticed, you had a chronological order of the events that happened during your travel to China, or at least of the most important moments. And I think that was proper for this type of speech, and it was easy to follow, didn't distract our attention from the details that were humorous. The audience, I would say that a few evidences that proved to me that the audience was entertained, besides the laughter that was there from time to time, as it should have been, was the fact that everyone was very relaxed and having a very smiling face all the time, just like they were actually doing this like you were doing it, just like in a mirroring effect. And you were having a very all the time anticipating a good moment that you were going to tell us about with your facial expressions. As far as the humorous effect is concerned, I would say that it was a moderate one, and this is the ideal way, since it's not a proper humorous speech, it's an entertaining one. I really saw you doing this at don't know what type of social event or reunion, and you would have been enjoyed also over there. I remember the rich beach moment, or I could imagine some voices instead of spending some money on the headphones. Those were really context-related humorous effects, and I would say you used them properly and they were really successful. And some other types of, oh my god, I must be colorblind or something. Some other, yeah, I saw red in front of my eyes. Some other types of humor that creating humor that you used were irony and exaggeration, and actually exaggeration was one of the methods that you used most properly, like that fitted you best during this evening speech, because you had that patience to explain to us every single detail that you saw in that plate related to food or habits or wedding traditions. As a suggestion for improvement, I would say you could use some more your body language, exaggerating some moments as you were planning to, I think. You had a good tone of voice and a good body posture, just that the hands or the feet could have been exploited some more. And I would put some more energy and rhythm when the speech would have allowed it. Okay, thank you very much for your...
Thank you, Anna. Now continuing with our next evaluation, in front of you to evaluate Adela, I will invite Raluca, and I'd just like to tell you about her that she thinks Russia is actually, despite the bad publicity, an interesting place, and she'd like to visit it. So, Raluca?
Good evening again. Here I am as an evaluator for Adela Muresan's speech. He's at project number 5, Your Body Speaks, and her objectives for tonight were to use sentences, body movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact that illustrate and enhance her verbal message. Also, everything should be smooth and natural, so she should be relaxed and talk with confidence, by the way. Adela, or I should say Adela, what's up? I have to say your self-confidence really is your key to success. All of us were here to see a great speech of yours, and it was a little bit difficult for me to find something to suggest you to improve, but I found that. Let's take it in order. You picked a good topic who facilitated you to use your body movement, your body language. You have used the contrast between our beloved Prime Minister's facts to explain the differences between how it's moral or immoral to use the confidence. And you took us to a journey with examples, with all that workout picturing about how to get a great self-confidence. I like that so much. You used very well your facial expressions, and the message was very well enhanced by that. Also, eye contact was so great. Your gestures, you have stopped a little bit to tell us something important, to have our attention, and that was great. What I can recommend you to improve for the future is to cover your entire space, and that can help you to give more power to your message. And as we know, when you go in front of a person and make eye contact and capture him into your story, he will be more enthusiastic and more there with you. And that enthusiasm and energy will spread all around. And going in the other corner of the room and make the same thing will help you to keep your audience more concentrated to you and your message. Otherwise, your speech was brilliant, great usage of the words, great constructions, great phrases, clear structure and purpose of your speech. I want to congratulate you, also right in front of my eyes, so it's time to go back to my place. Great speech, and can't wait to hear you next time.
Thank you, Raluca. Now, for our next evaluator, he actually believes that Russia intends to start World War III. I'm curious about his evaluation. Without further ado, here to evaluate Adi Salasan, I give you Ovidiu Oltean.
Evaluation number 3. Hopefully it won't turn into a world war afterwards. So, Adi was at project number 1, the folk tale from the storytelling manual. He had 2 objectives: to tell a folk tale that is entertaining and enjoyable for a specific age group, and to use vivid imagery and voice to enhance the tale. Adi, from the beginning you gave a totally unique perspective on the story Jack and the Beanstalk. It's the first time I heard it, and I'm really sorry that I didn't... Actually, we did record it, So we can sell it afterwards on the black market to make some money. It was great. Great use of humor, great use of intelligent humor, and it was really well adapted to a really intelligent audience. Because we really understood your fine sarcasm and in some places irony. You have some constructions here that I managed to write down. Milk stolen from the cow, bovine companionship, old magic vegetarian. Beans have more proteins than a cow. I didn't know that. Interesting. Support group of mothers, giants in the sky community. Now, one thing that I didn't quite manage to understand is why there were 13 climbers in the sky. I thought that they were Jesus' apostles that climbed into the sky. I didn't understand that one. Why 13?
Jack's apostles.
Yeah. You had a really good use of vocal variety. You use it really good when you interpreted the calling of the giants. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an English person. You use really good gestures. You had a really good body movement here on stage. You had a powerful voice, high volume and sometimes a low volume. Great pauses. And here is one point where you could enhance a little bit. You tend to make pauses during the sentences, not between the sentences. It's a little bit saccadated. It's talk and continue during sentences. A little more fluency would help us follow you through more easily during the story. Okay, yeah, for the ones that, I don't know, are there any persons in the room that don't know the story of the Jack and the beanstalk? You know the story. Okay, because if someone doesn't know the story, they won't get your irony and humor. But it was, you adapted it good to the audience. Okay, and yeah, I didn't find a climax to the story. It had a twisted end. I didn't imagine to end like that. But the whole story from beginning to end was really, really entertaining, and you certainly completed your objectives for this lesson. So congratulations, and just work on the fluency during your speech. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ovi. This concludes our speech evaluation, prepared speeches evaluation section. And moving forward, we are going to hear our technical evaluators give their report. The first technical evaluator is Simona, here to tell us about our pauses, our us, and whatever inappropriate constructions we had. Simona?
First of all, I want to thank all the people who spoke today, because my face did not turn red for too much counting. I will start with Raduca. You had 4 us and 1 pause, and the total, and 2 pauses, sorry. So the total is 6 mistakes for you as both president and evaluator. Dacian, as a Toastmaster, you had 28 us. You had a couple of repetitive words. So just in and in, you had 1 asha, not proper English, a couple of abouts, and there were 35 mistakes in total. Radu, as a general evaluator, you had 1 repetitive word, well, and 7 us, so 8 mistakes in total. Anca, as a grammarian, you had 4 us and 1 repetition, I don't know. Sergiu, you had just repetition, you will see, but it was repeated like 3 or 4 times. Diana, as the first speaker, you had just 5 us and a couple of repetitive words, well, but, and then, and now. Adela, I think you are the champion for tonight. You had no us and just 1 repetition, in. Adi, you had 6 us and a couple of repetitive words, but and now, and a couple of pauses like Ovidiu mentioned. There were 10 mistakes in total. Anna, you had 28 us and a couple of repetitive words, so and then. Ovidiu, as an evaluator, you had 3 us. Paul, I only spotted 2 us. Alex, there were lots of it so's in your speech, around 7 of them, but no us. Adela, there was just 1 repetition, it was a couple of times. Miron, there were 4 us in your speech, and Ovidiu, 2 us. And that's all from my side for tonight. Thank you.
Toastmasters and guests, with the permission of Dacian and Radu, as a grammarian, I've noticed 3 other things, if you don't mind me feeding back to you. One is clumsy English saying, without further ado, or without any ado. For heaven's sake, we've stopped using that 50 years ago. It's without delay, or right now, or just get on with it. It's a meaningless part of speech, although it is correct. 2, somebody said, I did not knew, or something like that. Of course, that should be I did not know. And finally, it's to do with proprioception. If you get into a common vehicle, a car, a plane, or train, you're sitting in your place, and it's the train that you happen to be in, but it's not my train, really. It's actually in the plane or in the train.
Thank you, Paul. And actually, it could be a very good introduction for the next technical evaluator. I must confess, when she will deliver her report, my face might turn red because I didn't use her word. So, right now, getting right to it, immediately now, and not with any further ado, I invite Anca in front of us to give us her report.
Thank you, Paul, for your help. So, Raluca Moisi, every member has to. As always, we had a few guests. As always, we have a few guests. Dacian, Cimpean. Where are you? You are mixing the words in a strange manner. I'm not sure